From Dragon and Line Podcast, I'm your host with the most, More Sanchez, and joining me live on Zoom is a very talented comedian, writer, model, and actor, Kieron Harrell. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm excited for you to be on the show. But before we get started with some questions, can you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Kieron. I'm 21 years old. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, but I moved to Chicago when I was 18. I moved out there for comedy. But if you ask my family, I moved out there for school. But yeah, I do interpersonal communication. That's my major.
When did you know that comedy was a thing for you?
So I knew when I was 6. The legend goes, I went into the bank with my mother when I was 6 years old, and I was singing this Louis Armstrong impression. And there were these 3 bank tellers, and they were all beautiful women, and I'm making them laugh. And so and that's the very first time I remember going, oh, whatever I just did to make them do that is what I want to do forever.
Oh, so you spitting game at a young age, at 6 years old?
I wouldn't say that.
Now, how do you come up with your material? Where do your ideas come from?
It really all just depends. It all depends on the day, man. It's all so different. I don't think that people give comics enough credit for how much we think, because everything around us we have to suck in and put a weird perspective on it. I think that gets so undermined. Like we have to look at everything differently, because everything can create something for us that we can benefit from. I'll have arguments in my head and write down a funny one, or if I go through something, or if I think about a past relationship, I'll write it down. I pull from anywhere I can, literally anywhere, curate my life and just pull material.
Fair enough. But whenever you go on stage and you do your set, do you feed off the vibe and go with what you've already prepared, or you just get a mix of everything you've already done and just use it from there, material wise?
I'm definitely a comic that needs to be around people, because I'm animated. In my younger years, I was compared to Kevin Hart all the time. I'm very bada boom, bada bing. So I feed off of them, but I used to really stick to this script. I would write out all my jokes word for word. And I had a bunch of my buddies going like, Kieron, you're a lot funnier when you just talk to us. So then I transitioned into doing bullet points and just trying to make sure that I can just flow a little bit. So now that's where I am in my career. And yeah, so I have punchlines written out in my head sometimes, but I just talk, and who doesn't love to riff and create something beautiful, and then that becomes the new regular set for your material. Yeah.
Perfect. Now, I know that you do a bit of writing, modeling. How do you switch from acting and then go back to modeling or doing stand-up?
So it's funny to answer that. I work the hardest in whatever I feel like I'm working the least in. And so I had this stint recently, like the past 4 weeks. I had this girl that I've been talking to off and on, and then this other girl that I'm really close with. They were yelling at me because I'll acknowledge my accomplishments and stand up, but then I'll be like, but that's why I should be here. And so they tore me up for that. Stop saying that, but I should. In regard to that, I've been going crazy on stand up because I've had to improve that aspect of myself. And then, like we were saying a little bit earlier on, I haven't been doing as much modeling work in Chicago. So now that I feel that area of my life is lagging, I'm sure that I'm going to pick it up, because I feel that kind of that pullback from it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
In the comedy world, with the world being so fucking sensitive, what's your take on society's perspective of jokes? Like, how careful do you have to be?
Here's the thing. No comic, and let's just get, okay. When I say a comedian, I'm talking about a true practitioner of comedy. I'm not talking about anyone that grabs a mic and then says something, because I'm talking about a true practitioner of comedy. They should never apologize for a joke. And my reasoning behind that is, the moment that you apologize for a joke is the moment that it becomes real. If I said something, if in 8th grade, one of my football coaches told me that the reason that you get in trouble the most is because you're the loudest. That's what he said to me. And so the thing is that we talk a lot. We're bound to say shit that's wrong. We're bound to. It's not that we're perfect, but it's just that the moment that we decide to go, oh, I'm sorry, then you lose all the magic that is comedy. It's supposed to be an area where you fuck up, and it's supposed to be an area where you're trying. Comedy is a perpetual attempt. Everyone expects to see this perfect. And then we seem to forget all these, because this is a hot topic for me. We forget these lessons that we were taught when we were young. We were taught when we were young, treat people how you want to be treated. That's a big one that we forget. And then we also forget that not everyone is going to like you. They used to say that to us all the time. And so now the only issue is that the people that don't like you now, they go out of their way to make it known. That's the only issue. It's the same. Back in the 70s, people hated Richard Pryor. But if you hated Richard Pryor, you had to buy a ticket to a show, drive to the show, had to drive home, write a note about how much you hated him, find out where he lived, mail it, buy a stamp, send it, and hope that he reads it. Now all you got to do is type on your phone how much you hate. Like it's too much.
No, it is. I just see a lot of stand-up comedians. They have to be real PC because a lot of it comes down to money. I mean, they could lose endorsements. It is a big hot topic. For you, currently, right now, with where everything stands, doing it virtually with everything being sensitive, is it affecting your material or are you working around it?
So I'm not really like an insanely offensive comic at all. Like not at all. But I love to touch topics that make people uncomfortable. Like I love to do that. And so the thing is, Chicago's been opening up half capacity. I did a show on Saturday that was pretty packed up, and I did some shit that makes people uncomfortable. They pull back. I acknowledge that they're pulling back. That way I can break the ice of, I'm like, hey, where am I losing you at? Oh, is it this part? And then you just have to trust yourself. That's either where you start riffing or you lean into your material more, but it's part of the process. But for me, every room is different. Because they're the same joke I've been telling for 3 years can kill tonight and bomb tomorrow. It's just part of I don't know. It's a beautiful part of the game. It's not certain. It's that feeling of,
Yeah. Because I feel like when you're in the stage in that moment, there's a lot that goes with it. You have to memorize your lines, take a look at what the fans are. They receptive to what you're saying? Before you even start any show or before you get on the stage, do you have any superstitions or rituals that you do?
I started using nicotine in like the end of 7th grade. Yeah, I know. What a fuck up. But that before one of my, and that would just, perfect. Get me in the mood, get me right, get me level. But now I don't have that. So I just try to make sure that the day is good. I don't do anything right before I go on stage. Like I don't have any of that. I just make sure that the day itself is good. Get a workout in, get some sleep in, just feel clear, run through it during the day. Yeah, but because once I get into a venue, there's nothing in my head. Like once I'm at the venue, my body knows, there's no more practice. It's go time. And so so that's why I've adapted the whole bullet point writing, because now I'm not going up there going like, I have it all memorized. Everyone's going to shut up and let me do it. It's now like anything can happen. But once I'm up there, it's just.
Do you still get the same jitters or feelings as opposed to when you first started from day one?
I had real bad jitters in the early on. And then I had a stint where I was just bombing. There was a stint, I think, where I bombed like 4 shows in a row. And then after that, I was just like, I spent a year dedicated to writing, got better, hit stages, noticed that I was better. And now it's just kind of, it's always nervous, but it's the nervousness of, Kieron, you know what you can do, so go do it. It's not nervousness of, they like me, or, it's never that. It's just, you know what you can do. You came to do it. It's now that type of.
Gotcha. Now, I want to touch on what you just mentioned. There was a time, the 4 shows where you bombed. I think a lot of people, that's when they call it done and they don't want to pursue. For those that are interested or for those that are running into that slump, do you have any words of wisdom that you can let them know what kept you motivated to keep doing it?
I'm going to sound like such a dickhead. It makes you want to quit. You're not a comic. Like, that's the most simple answer. Because when I was bombing, oh my fucking God, it's embarrassing. But I'm like, I'm not funny, but I know I am. So now I'm going to work harder to prove to you and everyone else that ever hears me tell the joke from this point forward exactly how funny I am. And so if you take it and get discouraged, now everyone's different, I know, yada. But if you take that and get discouraged and doubt yourself, it's not in you. Because you should feel that and be like, you're challenging me. Because they didn't wake up today and say, I'm gonna go not laugh at Kieron's jokes. That's not what happened. They had an expectation for me. I didn't meet it. I didn't perform well. That's on me to adapt myself and get better. You know what I mean? And so when people take that and go, well, you should just stop for me, fuck the crowd. No, fuck you. You got to work harder.
You got to have grit, man. Yeah. Now, before I let you go, I'm going to put you on the spot. Quick questions, quick answers, okay? All right. What is your favorite curse word?
I think I got 2. Shit has to be like number 1, just because I say it always. It encompasses everything. And then in the same vein, nigga. Name a great black comic that doesn't use it as an adjective, as a pronoun. Yeah. Okay.
What is your most memorable moment in your career so far?
So far would have to be the first show that I ever produced, directed, and then headlined. That was the January before last. Sold out the whole venue, 25 people over capacity.
Nice.
Family came out. Beautiful night.
Congratulations. Not a lot of people can pull that off. Given the opportunity to do a stand-up special, where would you want to record it?
I used to want to record in the IO Theater, which is a place in Chicago, just because it's beautiful and some deep purples are in there. But if it's a dream, and I'm dreaming, then I'm doing Madison Square Garden. There's no way around that.
There's no dream. That's where you're going to record it. You remember that. Right. There's no dream. All right. Garden?
100%.
When it's all said and done, if they make a movie about you, Who would play you?
This is gonna sound so dumb to you because of the age difference, but I would want my idol to play me. So Dave Chappelle has to play me. I don't care. I don't care how young I am and how old he is in the movie. Makeup, CGI, make it work.
All right. And then last thing I like to do is I always like to promote a local small business. Who do you want to give that shout out to?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I've been thinking. I'll just do, that's such a, and I feel like I don't want to leave anybody. I just have a really strong base friend group running makeup, Lauren's running acting, Muhammad's producing, Tammy's doing music. Shout out individually.
Then we'll do this. What song is playing in your car right now? What is the song you're listening to?
Rich Don't Stop by Saba.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where can the listeners or the viewers connect with you online?
I respond to everyone almost always, unless y'all say weird shit. No, I'm kidding. I'll write a story about you at KI_Almighty. That's my Instagram. That's my YouTube. My Facebook is Kieron Harrell. But hit me up on Instagram. I post basically everything on there. Reach out to me. Say hello. I love you guys.
Perfect. Was there anything real quick that I didn't ask you that you want the listeners to know?
Yeah, one thing. Just a word of the wise. It's a lesson that I'm learning that's pretty tough to learn, especially when you're young and hungry. Appreciate where you are and use it like a cake analogy. If you're at a birthday party, be grateful that you got a slice. Don't stare at the cake that you didn't get, because there are people that are praying to be where you are right now. And at some point, you were praying to be where you are right now. Keep pushing.
Funny you say that, man, because my wife's a baker. So if y'all want to get a cake in Austin, Jen takes a cake. Again, I appreciate you. Whenever you're in Austin, Texas, let me know. Whenever you're in Texas in general. Thank you for your time. You have a good night.
Thank you.